it's been really good for us as a whole program.
Absolutely. This is the HBCU Report. Rob Calloway on the line right now with Jerry Mack. He is the head football coach of the North Carolina Central University Eagles. They are in action versus Grambling State University. 12 o'clock kickoff live on ABC from the Georgia Dome. It is the second annual Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl as we look to crown an outright HBCU national champion. Now let's go back to that Aggie Eagle Classic. You know, as you and Coach Broadway were going head to head, and when we talked, I mentioned that you actually had the leg up on A&T, and you it was your team that actually had prevented their from being a outright MEAC champion because the last two seasons you guys had taken down A&T. So just reflecting on that game. How special was it for you all to win that game and know that you're headed to Atlanta?
It was great. The last couple of years, like you mentioned, it's been a co-champion type situation. And to have a championship game, even though it's not the official championship game, and obviously to be a rivalry too, that just added more momentum going into the game. Our kids were extremely focused that entire week because they saw their goals and what they had worked for the entire year right in front of them. One of the things at the beginning of the year in January 1 was to get to the Celebration Bowl to be an outright MEAC champion because we've shared it the last couple of years. And I think our kids, that was the rally cry all year long. And to have a chance and to be put in that situation where it was right in front of you and you could take a hold of your own destiny, that's what we talked about all year, and they went out there and they just played outstanding, I thought, on that Saturday.
Absolutely. Now, you and Coach Fobbs of Grambling State, both of you guys are candidates for the Eddie Robinson Award. How does it, for both of you guys to, not only be nominated for this award, but to also be going head-to-head in this matchup, how special is this? Well, I guess what I'm really asking you is what do you think about Coach Fobbs? That's really what I'm asking.
I've known Broderick a while, to be honest with you. We go all the way back to when I was an assistant coach at Memphis, and he had left to go take a job at Southern Miss, and I actually had the opportunity to probably go take his old job when he left McNeese State, and it just didn't work out that way. But we talked on the phone several times leading up into that interview, and I've known him and respected him for years now. I know his brother real well, know the family real well. So it's just one of those deals where I know he's an outstanding coach, and I know he's going to have those guys prepared to go to battle. He's done an excellent job at Grambling. His situation is very similar in the last 3 years that what we've been able to accomplish. We both got to our respective programs at the same exact time. So what he's been able to do over there at Grambling, especially considering where they came from in the 2013 season, has just really been outstanding.
Absolutely. Now, I just mentioned Coach Broadway. Of course, he's the living legend. He's won championships at every stop: Grambling, North Carolina Central, North Carolina A&T. But you did something that actually won up Coach Broadway. You won 24 games in your first 3 seasons. Coach Broadway actually won 22. So to know that you actually have a leg up in some category over Coach Broadway, what the win total too? You got the wins over A&T. But how does it feel to know that you've able to be able to eclipse such a legend like Rod Broadway?
Yeah, I don't think I've eclipsed him by no means. Anytime you're able to be in a conversation with a coach like Coach Broadway, I think it speaks volume on where we're headed as a program. I mean, he's done an outstanding job in his career. If I could have half the career that he has had, I think it's worth his weight in gold. But just to be mentioned in the same breath is like you said, living legends, a guy that's going to go in the Hall of Fame one day. It's just an honor to be even mentioned like that.
Yeah, man. Now, we talk about some of your student athletes. Of course, everybody's familiar with the quarterback, Malcolm Bell. But your running backs, Darrell McClain and Ramon Simpson. Talk to me about these guys, because I haven't talked to you about those two. Pretty good running backs you got there.
I think they're the most underrated tandem in the MEAC, to be honest with you. Last year, Darrell McClain, he was freshman of the year in an all-conference selection. And this upcoming year, He had a lot of injuries, and Ramon Simpson was able to come in, and he was an all-conference selection postseason as well. So to have two guys that have had the success that they've had in the backfield, being able to complement Malcolm Bell, and that's one of the hidden reasons Malcolm Bell has been able to have a success, because he doesn't have to just rely on his arm. He can hand the ball off to those guys, and they get positive yards. He can throw to them out the backfield, and they do some great things as well. But I think, by both of those guys only being sophomores, and they still got 2 years of eligibility left, I think that's an exciting tandem to have in the MEAC conference for years to come.
Absolutely. Now, when you look on the defensive side of the ball, talking about Antonio Brown and also Jaquan Smith and Alden McClendon, don't let me forget him. So talk to me about those guys.
Oh, that's the three Florida boys. They say they got quality football in Florida, and we were able to get down there and get those guys on our roster, and it's just tremendous. All of them are young guys that will be back on the roster next year in 2017, and what they've been able to do up front from Jaquan and Antonio, and then what Alden has been able to do on the perimeter from his strong safety position. We always knew those guys had the ability to be great players in this conference, and now they're finally starting to hit their peak some, and they're finally starting to play at the expectation that we always knew they could.
Yeah, man, great stuff right there. Now, my final question for you, Coach, and this is the HBCU Report. Rob Calloway wrapping up with Jerry Mack, head football coach of the North Carolina Central University Eagles, as they prepare for this weekend's matchup versus Grambling State. 12 o'clock kickoff on ABC. It is the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. Talk to me about what you guys are going to have to do in order, because I know you're going to say, "Oh, we have to execute." No, I know you're going to say that. That's a part of it. But be specific. What do you feel like you all are going to have to come out and do in order to take down Coach Fobbs' Grambling State Tigers?
You have to slow down their offense. I think that's the first thing that jumps out at you. They're one of the top offenses in all of college football. And, with Devontae Kincaid and their receiver core, and also, too, you talk about Martez Carter in the backfield and Justin Kelly, can't forget about him. I mean, they have guys that when they touch the ball, they are dynamic. Anybody on that given roster that they give the ball to can score at any given time. So I think it all starts with trying to slow them down from an offensive standpoint. From a defensive standpoint, they do a great job of trying to create turnovers. They do a great job of having tackles for loss and creating chaos. So you have to be assignment sound, and you cannot turn the ball over when you're playing a team that's balanced from a defensive and offensive standpoint like Grambling. And so we got our hands full. And those guys got a lot of dynamic players. They're loaded with all conference players, just like we are. But, those guys are really explosive all over the field.
Absolutely. He is Jerry Mack, head football coach of the North Carolina Central University Eagles. 24-10 in his third season there at North Carolina Central. Pretty impressive, if I must say so myself. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck in this weekend's game, and we look forward to talking to you post-game, okay?
No problem. Thank you, Rob.
All right.
The HBCU experience lives here. The HBCU Report with Rob Calloway. We'll be right back.
I heard on the news about that 5-year-old who found his uncle's gun. The kid didn't know it was loaded.
I heard on the news about that 14-year-old girl who was bullied online. For like a year, she couldn't take it anymore, so she got her dad's gun from his nightstand.
I heard on the news about that guy who broke into someone's house, stole a gun from the hall closet.
He accidentally shot his cousin in the head.
She killed herself.
And later, killed the owner of the store he was trying to rob.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearms storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
University Tigers, they are in action versus the North Carolina Central University Eagles. It is the second annual Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl, where we are set to crown the outright HBCU national champion. And first of all, Coach Fobbs, welcome back to the show.
Well, it's good to be here. Anytime I get an opportunity to speak with you and visit with you, man, I enjoy it.
Yeah, man, and it was a good deal. Press conference. We actually got to talk for a few minutes, man, and it was just good to get some FaceTime with you.
Absolutely, man. It's always good to be around good people, man, and especially with an event like we have going on with the Celebration Bowl. This is a huge event for historically black colleges, and we're looking forward to this opportunity.
Yeah, man. Now last year, the inaugural saw North Carolina A&T up in Alcorn, 41-34 was the final score. It was a great game. Those that were in attendance, I think everybody was really pleased. There were a lot of positives that came out of it other than football. You know, when you talk about the enrollment at Alcorn and North Carolina A&T, it went up significantly because these teams, you know, had that ABC, that national television presence. So just, you know, thinking about the impact that this could actually have on Grambling, not only from a football standpoint, but from a university standpoint, how big is this for you?
Well, it's huge because what it does is it gets us in the living rooms of so many people that want to come to college. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about getting quality football players at your university through recruiting. But then also it gets students at your university because students want to be associated with a winner. And anytime you're playing on national television at ABC in December, you know, you're pretty much a winner if you're playing in December. So we're fortunate to have the opportunity. It's a great environment. We have a great opponent, a great champion in North Carolina Central, and we're a great champion as well. And we're looking forward to the clash. Absolutely.
Now, you know, you and Coach Mack, both in your third year at your respective universities. So your career has kind of been running parallel. You know, because from what I understand, when you left McNeese State, he was considered for the position, for your position. So you all's career has kind of been running parallel. But what are your thoughts on Coach Mack and the job he's been able to do over there, actually winning 3 MEAC championships in a row?
Well, he's a heck of a football coach, obviously. You know, you're not up for the Eddie Robinson Award unless you're a heck of a football coach. But then secondly, you know, to win 3 straight championships, I mean, that's unbelievable. So he's a heck of a football coach. He coaches in a heck of a conference. And he's got some really good players that, you know, really understand their plan and what they're trying to get accomplished.
Absolutely. This is the HBCU Report. Rob Calloway on the line with Broderick Fobbs. He is the head football coach of the Grambling State University Tigers. They are in action versus the North Carolina Central University Eagles in the second annual Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. It goes down 12 o'clock kickoff, ABC live from the Georgia Dome. Now, Coach, you mentioned Coach Mack being up for the Eddie Robinson Award. You're up for the award as well. You know, how big of an honor is this for you to be up for an award for a guy that's so near and dear to your heart?
Well, it's huge for me because I know who Eddie Robinson was and what he stood for. But just to even be mentioned, you know, as a nominee, I mean, it's huge because there's so many great coaches all across this country that really do an exceptional job. You know, a lot of this credit goes to my coaching staff and players because without them doing what they do, it's impossible for me to even be recognized because at the end of the day, I'm the visionary. I'm not the guy that does it. I'm the guy that's the visionary that sets the plan in place. And they carry out the plan, and they've done a really good job of that.
Yeah, now, you know, when you talk about this Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl and what it actually means historically, I think Mr. John Grant, the executive director of the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl, I think he threw out the historical fact that the first meeting between a postseason matchup between the SWAC and MEAC was between Grambling State and North Carolina Central. So from a historical standpoint, because I know you're a student of the game, you know, how big is this game from a historic standpoint?
Well, it's huge, especially when you add to the fact that, you know, my dad was on that team.
Oh, he was on that team. Game. Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So it's huge, you know, to play over in Durham and back in 1972 and for him to be a heck of a football player in his own right, you know, he talked about that game. So, I mean, it's big, you know, and it's amazing how we've come full circle, you know, to this point where we're playing again. And actually, I think it's the 40-year reunion of the of Coach Rob's games. I can't remember exactly which one it is, but it's a huge deal.
Yeah, man. You know, a lot of folks, you know, they really follow the HBCU sports. They're calling this one the Broadway Bowl. Because, of course, you know, Coach Rod Broadway over in North Carolina A&T, you know, he had the opportunity to win a national championship and, you know, SWAC championships at Grambling, and then he did the same thing at North Carolina Central.
Right.
You know, but you know, you know, because right now I think he probably has the biggest resume, you know.